Let's watch the Ghost Rider announcements. Okay. Damn, that's cold.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel was just talking about doing more Ghost Rider in the MCU, and it was not the version of Ghost Rider most people would expect either. We also found out what's going on with Johnny Blaze. I know there's a ton of questions about Robbie Reyes from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There was a Ghost Rider TV series that they were working on a couple years ago that I'll explain. Anytime I do videos about characters coming back, like we talk about Ghost Rider coming back, I always get a ton of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. questions. So we'll break it all down. This is the head of Marvel TV who's in charge of all the TV shows they do, all the animated stuff like X-Men
What is
97, all the
that?
live action stuff they're doing right now like Agatha All Along to Daredevil Born Again next year. Talking about them doing a Danny Ketch Ghost Rider story in a new TV series.
The Danny Ketch era of Ghost Rider.
Everybody's been waiting for years to see a version of Ghost Rider show up in the new movies and the newer shows since Disney bought Fox and canceled all those old Ghost Rider TV series plans that they were in the middle of making. They were legit in the middle of getting ready to film, like they had pre-production, it was all ready to go, and then boom, canceled. I'll explain why they canceled those plans because it was all part of this larger consolidation that was happening as we were getting into the lead up of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame around that era of Marvel. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos.
To the GOAT.
This is just the beginning. Like, we're just starting to see more supernatural stuff inside the MCU. Like, we're in the middle of Agatha
And me
All
also,
Along episodes.
please.
It trades heavily in the world of the supernatural. There's even a connection between that series and Ghost Rider through the Jennifer Kale character, their potions witch inside Agatha's New Coven on the Witch's Road. She's actually Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch's cousin. They all have the same grandfather, and she crossed over with both of them for runs of the Ghost Rider.
Imagine we get him
into
into Agatha. That would be crazy.
But I do not expect to actually see a version of Ghost Rider like legit show up on that TV series. They do make a lot of references and Easter eggs for all that stuff though. Everyone's dusting off their old WandaVision Mephisto memes just because it looks like the episodes will invoke a lot more Mephisto connections and jokes and things just adjacent to a lot of the Ghost Rider stuff that's happening. But the showrunner for that series said that when they were making WandaVision, a lot of the deeper lore, the theory crafting, the deeper connections that the fandom was tuned into, and there were a lot of like deeper connections, the actual people making that show were not even clued in on a lot of that stuff. Like a lot of the deeper lore wasn't even on their map when they were making it. And because of how that turned out, bit of a debacle, going into Agatha episodes, they were tuned into those things way more. But my expectation, just based on the way they've talked about the crazier connections and Easter eggs, all the theory crafting, foreshadowing that they've been doing, is that they plan to purposefully mess with us when it comes to Easter eggs. So just be prepared for that. When the head of Marvel TV is talking about wanting to do a Danny Ketch Ghost Rider story, he's talking about a series, not a movie. So you have to think
we'll
more
take
in the
whatever
vibe
at
of
this
Robbie
point.
Reyes' Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider and how they did his character during a 20-plus season of TV. Like I said, they were actually legit going to make a TV series with his character, but it wasn't going to be 20 episodes. It was going to be closer to like 10 episodes per season. Marvel, as of today, isn't going to do 20 episodes for like any character. Even Daredevil Born Again isn't going to get 20 episodes per season. There was like a brief hot second when it was going to be 18 episodes for season 1, but they were going to break it in the middle.
I think 18
so
is good.
Daredevil Born Again next
or
year
20.
is that there'll be 9 episodes for season 1,
that's
and
just
they'll
me.
turn the second half of the season into season 2 the year after that. It's all because of budget. Like, that's how expensive it is for them to do Ghost Rider effects. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. way around the problem was to only have Ghost Rider go into Ghost Rider form, use his powers every once in a while, as opposed to like every single episode in a 20-episode series. When you talk about the Ghost Rider movies, you're talking about like a 2-hour plus movie, and he's only in Ghost Rider form for like half of that, so it's only like an hour that you have to deal with the budget. It's the same reason why Marvel doesn't have Hulk show up in Hulk form on every single TV show and be in Hulk form during that entire run. It's the reason why the She-Hulk TV series cost more to make than Deadpool and Wolverine. Legit, that is one of the first reasons why it was canceled. Not the only reason, but probably the biggest reason.
I will answer
It was stupid.
but you must
Nobody liked it.
Back to Jennifer.
Why?
You are very expensive.
I think they spent upwards of like $225 million making She-Hulk. Deadpool
That's
and Wolverine's
crazy.
budget was closer to like $200 million. So you can just think about that for a second.
And that's
how
just
big
a
Deadpool
show.
and Wolverine felt still cost them more to have somebody walk around in Hulk form for 8 episodes. There was even a deleted joke scene on She-Hulk about this whole phenomenon where you have She-Hulk hugging the Abomination, all in Hulk form, that they called the most expensive hug in TV history. And that is correct. Like, that would have been a crazy expensive scene to actually do. It's the same situation for Ghost Rider, which is why you don't see Ghost Rider all over the place right now. The way the head of Marvel TV was talking, he made it sound like Ghost Rider would be something that they do in the future, meaning they're not actually filming a Ghost Rider series secretly behind the scenes or anything like that. Like, no one's actually been cast as Danny Ketch Ghost Rider right now. Based on all the other Ghost Rider related stuff we know they're doing in the next few years, and the stuff that they tried to do during Deadpool and Wolverine based on deleted scenes, it sounds like their Danny Ketch plans for Ghost Rider wouldn't be till after Secret Wars. All because Nicolas Cage's version of Johnny Blaze is supposed to return in Secret Wars, so they're mostly focused on that version of Ghost Rider short term. In fact,
They were
there
gonna
was
bring
a
him back
deleted
for
scene
Deadpool,
from Deadpool and Wolverine
but I
featuring
guess
his
they didn't
Ghost
do
Rider
it.
fighting as part of that resistance team against the Deadpool Corps. The whole idea is that in an early version of the movie, Johnny Blaze was supposed to be on that team. Notice you also can see Ben Affleck's Daredevil also fighting in this deleted scene against the Deadpool Corps, like he was also supposed to be in the movie for a little while. The way that Ryan Reynolds explained it, because there were a lot of people that did not show up in Deadpool and Wolverine, like they made Magneto references, they made Quicksilver references, there were a bunch of references to the other X-Men characters like Beast, Storm, Cyclops, how come they weren't in the movie? Ryan Reynolds explained, and it's the same situation with Ghost Rider coming back, it's all about budget. That's why he made the Chris Evans joke when he was killed during the movie. Do you know what he was doing to the budget of this film? This is actually in Ryan Reynolds' own words. He said that because they were doing the movie as a rated R, he wanted to keep the budget as low as possible. Now, for him, that meant close to $200 million. I wouldn't exactly call that low budget. But it sounds like
That's
Marvel took his idea
pretty
of
low,
bringing back
though.
Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider for a
For
crossover
an
and opted
action
to save
movie.
it for Secret Wars, where they know they're spending way more money on the budget. So at least for right now, Marvel just mostly focused on paying off Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, giving him a big Avengers Endgame kind of going out moment with the other classic Fox Marvel characters that didn't already come back in Deadpool and Wolverine, and other pre-MCU Marvel characters from other studios. For example, Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider is actually a Sony movie. Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, also from the Sony-verse, so to speak, like their own universes, supposedly coming back in Secret Wars. So that's why they'd be waiting till after Secret Wars to do like a totally different version of Ghost Rider that they'd never done before. And that's the other reason why Brad Winterbaum here, head of Marvel TV, was talking about doing Danny Ketch specifically of all the different versions of Ghost Rider he could possibly do. Both because he is personally a fan of Danny Ketch's run as Ghost Rider, and that second Nicolas Cage movie introduced Danny Ketch as a child. There's this open territory to actually do him as an adult. They don't have to bring back that specific version of Danny Ketch, but they can just say that they've set it up but have not actually done a legit version of Danny Ketch adult run in the comics. Which is what everybody thinks of when they say they're doing a Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, like adult Danny Ketch. There were some references to Danny Ketch during Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when they did Robbie Reyes' origin story. When he tells the story of how he became Ghost Rider and got the Spirit of Vengeance, he talks about a mystery writer who found him when he was dying, made the bargain that all Ghost Riders make to become the Spirit of Vengeance without realizing what he was agreeing to, and then got the power. And that's the last you see of that quote-unquote mystery writer. The mystery writer was meant to be Danny Ketch because they were trying to be comic accurate to the progression of Ghost Rider in the comics. It went Johnny Blaze, then Danny Ketch became the Spirit of Vengeance, and then Robbie Reyes did. There have been many Ghost Riders across history, though. They get into the lineage
A lot of
the Spirits
variations, just like the
in Nicolas
Deadpools.
Cage movies. The original Ghost Rider is supposed to be from Avengers 1 million BC stories. He was just a regular caveman who became the Spirit of Vengeance. There are also wilder
should get a
versions
movie
of
of
Ghost
that.
Rider from like the distant future, like Punisher, who becomes Ghost Rider. They call it Cosmic Ghost Rider. The actual Ghost Rider TV series that got canceled they were in the middle of making was for Gabriel Luna's Robbie Reyes character from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like it would have been his character just moving on to his own TV series, which would have been on Hulu. This is him actually talking about it. He says, I remember when I was pitching stuff, I had a really awesome idea that would have kept Robbie in LA and would have pitted us against classic Ghost Rider villains. As it turns out, one of those villains would have been Lilith, Marvel's mother of demons, and would have been the main villain of an entire crossover Defender style. You might remember Marvel talking about this before Avengers Endgame happened, like it was a really big deal. They were going to do another Defender-style team-up, but with supernatural characters. It was going to be Ghost Rider, Hellstrom, which we saw one season of. I did like a couple Hellstrom videos, and two other unnamed
If not, they would have
TV
probably
series.
had
We
him
have
on
no idea what they were,
Thunderbolts,
so you can
but they're
theorize
trying to
about
save
that.
him.
Their big Defender style
I
team up
guess.
crossover series was going to be called Adventure into Fear, and like I said, Lilith was going to be the main villain of that. But we've actually heard about them doing Midnight Suns. Lilith is supposed to be the main villain of that. She was also supposed to be played by Mia Goth in versions of Mahershala Ali's Blade movie. I don't know if she's still in a version of that movie, so there's like a lot of Lilith that they've been trying to put in the movies recently. The way that Gabriel Luna talks about this Ghost Rider TV series, he said they were in full pre-production as Disney was getting ready to be bought by Fox, like it was all going down behind the scenes. What wound up happening, though, is that they were about to film, like day one, they were getting ready to roll cameras. Kevin Feige canceled the TV series. The whole reason for that is they were doing this grand consolidation of Marvel TV into Marvel Studios as Avengers Endgame was going down. Kevin Feige became the head of all Marvel TV. Previously, he wasn't. Jeff Loeb ran Marvel TV. They were completely separate divisions before Avengers Endgame. That was why you have like completely different people making Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the other Marvel TV series that were making the movies, all but Kevin Feige and his team. All the new TV series that Kevin Feige was in charge of that came out under Marvel Studios is all the Disney Plus stuff. So like the Disney Plus era is the Kevin Feige era of Marvel TV. I know there are a lot of Agents of
Which
S.H.I.E.L.D. fans
wasn't
out there
too
that are still
good.
salty that they canceled that Ghost Rider TV series, want to see the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters come back. That's also one of the reasons why they canceled that TV series too, is because they were consolidating everything under Kevin Feige at Disney. Gabriel Luna has talked personally about wanting to come back. Like, he'll come back anytime they'll have him, but it does sound like they have some very specific plans short term for Ghost Rider before they start doing larger stuff in big TV series and the movies. The way that Ryan Reynolds also explained it too is that when it came to doing like all these different versions of older characters from pre-MCU days, bringing them back for Deadpool and Wolverine, he said that when he was meeting with Kevin Feige asking for permission to use all these different characters, like, can I bring all these old people back because it'd be an awesome movie? There were a couple cases where Kevin Feige told him no, but not because he didn't want the characters in the movie. It was mostly because of legal problems and IP problems. Even though Marvel does have the rights to most of their characters, when it comes to older
They
characters,
did
like for instance,
some nice
Johnny Blaze
send-offs
Ghost
for some
Rider,
people
I still
though.
think, for example, Sony has to get involved if you want to bring that movie version of that character back. But if Marvel wanted to do like a totally new version of Ghost Rider in the movies, they'd be fine to do that. It's one of those situations, kind of like Marvel doing a solo Hulk movie where Universal has like some of the rights for certain things, but they can use the Hulk in different ways in other movies, and it gets really complicated behind the scenes. If you've ever wondered why Marvel doesn't do like the easy solution, like how come they're not using this combination of characters that are
What the
way
hell
more
is
popular
this?
in this way, a lot of times it's
Cyclops
because there's
going
some
wild.
crap legal issue that they have behind the scenes that's holding everything up. It's also reportedly one of the reasons why they're not doing an X-Men solo movie before Secret Wars. I haven't seen any official language about this from Marvel, like they're very careful when they talk about the legal stuff going on behind the scenes, but I believe they had an issue with recasting some of the major X-Men characters before Secret Wars, like there was a certain timestamp on it before they could actually recast everyone. My assumption there was just some language built into some of the old X-Men character contracts that said that they could not be recast until a certain date. When it comes to people like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, he'd also have that similar contract, but also he's so popular, they're going to make him do this until he's in his 90s, like that Deadpool and Wolverine joke. That's kind of a special case though. Marvel does want to recast pretty much all the X-Men characters. When it comes to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, they'll probably just wait to recast a version of Wolverine, like introduce a new MCU Wolverine for many years, but eventually they will do that. Like Hugh Jackman isn't going to get super ripped and do that crazy workout routine till he's 90 years old. That was why Ryan Reynolds was also joking about not wanting to do Deadpool 4. Eventually they probably will do Deadpool 4, like he'll come back as Deadpool in other people's movies, but not nearly as big as a full Deadpool movie. All because doing all the stunts that he said all these years, even though Ryan Reynolds, pretty young person, said that he's destroyed his body by doing a lot of those stunts. It's sort of like professional wrestlers or NFL linebackers destroying their bodies when they're really young. But everyone let me
Shit,
know in
we
the
need them
comments
for
if
a
Marvel is
long
working on a
time.
Danny Ketch
Wolverine
Ghost
and
Rider TV
Deadpool.
series at some point after Secret Wars. What do
We
you
don't need
want them
no
to
new,
do with
no
that series? And where else
recast.
do you want to see Ghost Rider show up inside the MCU, TV shows or movies? Personally, if they were going to be doing Ghost Rider, I was not expecting Danny Ketch. I would just expect them to reboot and go with the version of Johnny Blaze and go from there. But I will take whichever version of Ghost Rider they want to give us. Like, just give us more of some of these big characters. Like I said, there is a reason why they waited so long to introduce some of these big ones. One of them is budget, the other is legal problems. If we do see any more Easter eggs for like Mephisto, Ghost Rider, any of the related Ghost Rider characters during Agatha all along, I'll talk about those during my videos. I just posted my Agatha episode 1 and episode 2 video. Click here for that. And click
That's
here to
it
learn
for
more about those
this.
delete-
Make sure to subscribe and like the video.